Right.
And he helped me to understand oil very well, and it's very interesting. As I learned paint, I changed from what he taught me, but he taught me to be, my very first painting was a palette knife painting, and it was very much like what I paint now. But then after that, he started giving me the lessons, and I started to develop this more realistic picture, which that's what he did. And I gave that painting to my grandmother, which I gave it to her, 50 years ago. And then found in a box one time, I found that painting. And I looked at it and I go, oh, I love that painting. And I remember painting it the guy. And I said, well, why do I paint the way I paint now? This is what I like to do. So then I tried to do it. And it's so hard because I had changed so much. I had developed this incredibly different style to what I wanted to do. And the biggest problem was that I was trying to do impressionistic style like a realist. And every time you start to paint something, you go, well, get to detail that up a bit more. And then, wait a second, I just blew it. I just changed everything. So, so it took quite a few years for me to go get rid of that in my head. And even now, quite often when I'm finishing a painting, I'm wanting to go. But then you shouldn't. You stand back and leave it alone and get back over the other side. Because if you're standing up pretty close, this looks like crap right now. I mean, it has no value to it at all, but it's just setting up my lines and my background. But now I can stop. But it took me a long time to be able to stop. Okay. Now it makes no sense to most people watching, but they'll start making sense fast.
Are those things frisbees?
Frisbees. Yeah.
Frisbees, yeah.
Yes.
I thought so. Oh, better right back there.
Yes. And I am so cheap. I've had the same frisbees probably for 8 years.
Dollar store stuff?
Yeah, dollar store. Yeah, exactly. I think this one's here. I think some actually came from somebody that had them and they just handed me, and they had to be
Yeah.
yellow because I like the yellow. So. But yeah, and they have worked really, really well. The acrylic peels off of them afterwards.
Oh, cool.
And so you just peel off the paint and then start again. I have probably have about 12 of them. And so I just put them in a drawer after I finish painting that day. And then I go back to them. And in about a week, I peel off all the paint and then I start again. I used to paint 5 days a week, but now I only paint 2 days a week. So I paint Mondays and Fridays. So today was my paint day. And I made a decision about 2 years ago exactly, when my granddaughter was born, that I was going to be able to look after her so the kids could go back to work. But I only could do it 3 days a week. So I do it Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So only paint Monday and Friday. And it's worked out fantastic. The only thing is, it does kind of reduce the amount of painting time, but also it means that I have more quality that time of painting. So maybe I enjoy it a little more now. I paint about 100 paintings a year. And they usually are large canvases.
Do you have an idea in your head right now of what
Yeah.
you want it to look like when it's finished?
Well, what I'm painting is the birch tree that's laying on the ground. So this is the birch tree. There's going to be another couple branches here. There's going to be a bit of a bunch of dead growth on the bottom. This is going to be trees. So right now I'm just filling in the blanks. And then the birch tree is a rather simple painting to do because it's just simple for me, I guess. And so I'm just building up the shadows and building up the background. And most people that paint acrylic knows that acrylic has to be lightened and lightened and lightened and lightened. And so when you're getting into your background where you want the highlights and show through, you're just gonna go in and put white on top of it and keep lightening it. So I'm just starting to build the undergrowth. Doesn't really look like much, does it? My granddaughter could have done this. But, it actually does make sense, probably more in about 10 minutes. I don't know if it's for everybody, but. It helps to actually have an idea what you're gonna do on it. Shoot.
Yeah.
No, it's auto.
Sorry, you always paint in the studio?
Yes. Well, no, I do with the pen air, but, I feel like it's copy in it, man. I do it. I actually have already painted a picture outside this year. Just this Friday. I painted one outside because it was such a beautiful day. So I went outside and painted.
And how large are you painting then?
Sorry?
How large are you painting when you're outside?
Oh, that could be the full size. It could be
Oh,
like
really?
40 by 60. Yeah.
Wow.
Size doesn't really change anything. I just bigger brush and just bigger easel outside. I have a wall easel I built that actually holds up to a 72 by 40, whatever. So I use that inside mainly, but
Doesn't it change how fast the paint dries?
yes. Yes,
I
it
mean,
does.
that's,
It does, and that actually helps me. In some paintings, because then I don't have to wait, like with some paintings, I have to go and fortunately, sit down and have a cup of coffee, wait for a few minutes, but with the paint on too thick. But
Probably the bugs in the dog here.
well, dogs, yes, I have 2 little dogs, so they affect me. The one actually watches, the other one just sort of annoys me. But it's interesting, because I paint so often, and when my granddaughter gets back after the weekend, she walks up and she goes, "Look, dude," she can actually recognize me painting. It's really kind of cool. My wife doesn't, but she can't see this, right?
Well, did we mention that we're recording it and putting it on YouTube?
I love her so much.
Good answer. Good answer. Mother's Day is coming.
Yeah, that's true.
I love that.
How many here in the room are actually impressionist painters?
Yeah.
It is actually, to me, like, I mean, I understand both sides, because I painted watercolor for a long time too. And so I find all art exciting. Doesn't matter what style a person has. And with my my business, I actually pay attention to artists all the time. I actually do a lot of YouTube searches and listening to other styles and techniques, and also sometimes try to figure out another way of promoting your products. And that's important too. The sales is what drives you. The funny thing about art too is that you're really happy when you're selling a lot. And as soon as it goes to the next week where you're selling nothing, you go, nobody loves me anymore. It's a fun thing how the mind does that to you, right? Yeah, totally. Oh, yes, I sold 10. Oh, you didn't sell anything this week, so I'm terrible. It's the way it is. Let's stand back. So I'm just going up back here so I can see my.
Way back. I do that. You get as far enough back, then it looks pretty good.
I couldn't get far enough, so that's.
That's.
It's not very liquid. No, that's right. You don't miss your brushes at all.
Kind of notice that, yeah. It's kinda- No, because look at the colors you come up with.
Yeah.
Right, so I go with the flow. And just let it happen.
It's mostly small strokes. So you're getting broken color and.
Yeah, and it's actually,
Grades.
and then at the end, you start putting the overcoats that will cover up some of those colors, but you'll still show through, right? So I don't, no. I mean, that's how you do, when you're painting oil, this is totally different than oil, obviously, and so with oil, I ended up with a lot of mud, you know? So-
Kind of, Monet.
Interesting, because Monet and Van Gogh were my inspiration to become an impressionist. So I put them together when I first started trying to paint that direction. And I mean, Van Gogh's statement is, I used to dream about painting, and now I dream and then paint. So, and that's basically what I do, is I always sort of see an image in my head and I start painting it. It was somebody that was a good friend of mine said, and he was very good at promoting products and paintings, and he said, you know, Dan, you won't be able to do that because you won't be able to have enough images to sustain you. It's kind of the opposite. I have too many images that come through in my head to sometimes narrow down which one I want to paint. So I would say that I have actually been very fortunate that I can actually sometimes see a week ahead of different lined up paintings. And even after painting about 100 a year.
You sketch them or you just remember them?
Remember them. Yeah, it's I can't remember people's names, but I can remember an image on a paint of a painting. I can remember a tree. I can remember a sunset. I can remember a mountain. I can remember those things that are in my head. They're there all the time, but I can't. That's my mind works that way. So how I started when I was before I could paint, I was drawing, and I drew and drew and drew so many pictures, and it was always trees. In class, everybody always drew superheroes and things like that, and I was always sitting and drawing pictures of trees and barns and farms and all those things, and that was always in my head, even as a 7 or 6-year-old paint drawing. And when I was about 11, I knew I wanted to be able to paint, but I couldn't paint. I could only use the pen. So then that's when my parents paid me to get lessons from this artist, and that changed me. And I still draw. I drew a lot. I actually drew pen and ink drawings that were 4 feet by 6 feet.
Wow.
So I drew a lot of years. And then in the, I would say, the late 70s and early 80s, I was doing watercolors, and I was doing galleries on the coast doing my watercolors, because I actually wanted to paint fast and make more money. And so I had a person give me lessons on watercolors, and he really helped me a lot. He taught me how to paint 3 paintings at once in a watercolor way, and then he was doing that, making a living in Stanley Park, just because it used to be years and years and years ago, there used to be artists all over Stanley Park. And he actually taught me how to do that, and I was doing it, but I wasn't. I didn't have the ability to talk very well. I was very shy, and a lot of artists are, and obviously that's who I am, a very shy person. But I wasn't making a lot of money because I was not able to. Somebody walk up to me, and I was sort of like, hi, like wouldn't be able to communicate with them. So my dad said, become a salesman, so that's changed me. I became a salesman, now I can talk, so. And now I can think too. Start seeing shapes, right? Starting to see how it's just building. It may be ugly, but still you can see the shape. Not that ugly, actually.
Let me see your palette.
I mean, messy.
No, I just wanted.
They probably,
Sorry. It's actually, but you can see how easy it is just with the only, like the three colors in white. There's, I mean, I don't use black. I mean, sometimes people use black. I don't use black. Why would you? If you say that, why would I?
So you're mixing the color on your brush.
Yes, on my brush.
Not on the color.
I actually use the cloth to get rid of the excess. So if I don't like that muddy color that's coming out, I will just do that. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm gonna put the extra branches in, but this is gonna be like a lot more weight coming through here. The trees are actually gonna have to come in, but I'm gonna have to start putting a couple of tree branches up here and then coming in and with some lighter colors to have them shine through. But this will be like this idea. Start to see where these will be. Lots of concentration.
That yellow background is really effective. And it helps make the painting feel.
Yes, and you can get that,
Even before you're done.
and you can get that away with any color that you would prefer. Like some people prefer reds, and some people prefer even pinks and greens, and they all work. Sometimes when I want to develop a mood, before I even start painting, I will do that. Paint one picture this February that actually was. I started the background in like a pale gray, and then I had the pale gray background. Then I put my foreground with power on it, and it was like, holy cow, I like that. That's the only one I did.
I just wouldn't have thought to use that deep yellow like that, and I like it.
It wasn't my idea. I was talking to an artist. Remember, I think it was in California. He was there, and he said, "If you want your acrylics to pop, use yellow." He wasn't talking about the background, but he was just saying, "If you want your acrylics to pop, use yellow." And I go, "Well, if I do that, why don't I just use the whole background yellow and see if it worked?" And it did.
So is this yellow deep or?
Yes, yes, it is. I don't always use the. Sometimes if I see a sale. And I don't usually, now I'm out of my, I usually have the same size container in yellow. And I apply my yellow with a sponge. So my under part is, I just sponge it all on. So I don't use a brush to get it. I want the light to be coming from over here, so I'm just trying to lighten up this side. The other interesting thing is when you're really in a hurry, you just paint with both hands. Yes, it's going to the glass.
I missed that. What'd you say?
You're really in a hurry. You're really in a hurry, you just go like this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good. I didn't really want to
You can actually speed up your process. Because it actually works really good when you speed up this kind of painting style. So, yeah.
Is Michael Land that does two brushes on for the United States?
I don't bother. Getting that down here in my white. I'm going to start making my birch trees start showing up. So I have a marble floor type in my gallery, and I don't have anything underneath it because I'm not putting water on my brush. So that's, you're not getting the
You're not
flare.
dripping.
You're not dripping. So that's actually a big benefit of this paint style.
No. Yeah, but I would, sure, I still do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it starts to come together a bit thicker than now.
Hi, Jetta, that is heavy bodied acrylic, not fluid.
Yeah, just heavy body.
That's just out of chat
Oh.
message.
Yeah, heavy body. I've never used fluid. Someday I will, because why not?
Well, the fluid's drippy.
Yes,
There
that's
goes
true.
your floor.
You got the floor, yeah.
Then I would have to cover it.
So you don't ever spray with water to blend?
Sorry?
Yeah, don't ever spray with water to blend?
No,
No.
no, well, maybe I shouldn't say no. There was a painting I painted. Probably about 7 years ago. That had a crazy sky that was just unbelievable. And it was using the spray afterwards, and it was just, I had the yellow undertone. And then I took, and it wasn't quite, the paint on top wasn't quite dry. And I sprayed it to allow the paint to sort of separate a bit. And then I dabbed it and took it off, and that allowed the sky to have those little dots of. And it turned out pretty good. But I haven't done it since. We were in Mexico this spring, I don't know, in spring and winter. And we were enjoying the sunset almost every night. And there was this one place where we just sat every night and watched the sunset, which was absolutely gorgeous. And as I was sitting there, I was going, how am I gonna, you know how you do that when you're sitting there going, look at how it's blending there. What's happening there? Well, how can I make that sky shine through those clouds the way God is doing it here? When I get home, I can't do it because it's just too hard. And especially the way I paint, how do I do it fast? And how do I accomplish that? So I was thinking, and as we're sitting there, we did it like, I don't know, a couple of weeks, we're sitting and looking at the same sunsets. And all of a sudden it just came to me, I'm going, well, I guess it'll work. Then I researched and guess it does work. So I just went and bought some gold leaf. And then I put in the highlight areas. And I just put a tiny bit of gold leaf and just a little bit. And then I painted over the gold leaf a little bit afterwards. Turned out absolutely amazing. So when you're looking at the painting, and if you don't know I did it, you wouldn't be aware until the certain light hits it, and all of a sudden the sun goes. But don't overdo it. Just that little teeny bit of gold leaf. And I know a lot of people do it, but I've never done it before, so then I had to find out how to do it. And it turned out really good. And then my wife said, $160 in that little painting. I go, yeah, but I could paint a lot with it. And she said, well, how many are you gonna do? I don't know, never do it again, but I've got to go leave.
You don't have an imitation going.
Does real gold leaf tarnish?
Yes, it does. You have to put a varnish over it.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I thought.
it does, 100%. And not only did I do gold leaf, because I don't just go one way, I always go a little further. The sun is not gold, it's more silver. So I use silver
Oh,
in the sun
as well.
and gold, because I thought that would never look quite real if we just did a gold sun, so. I bought both. I didn't tell her how much both cost. Oh, sorry.
Gonna be watching.
No,
I noticed you've got an area of the canvas up in the right there that you haven't put any marks on
no, I don't know what I'm doing there yet.
yet.
But I have to stand back a bit. So. How long have I been into this? About 30 minutes, 40 minutes?
Yeah.
That's coming together pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
What's that?
right, so basically what I wanted up there, though, that is going to be the darker side of the picture. And so I didn't know if I wanted to go with a bank or just go with bringing the actual contrast right down. So the shadow should be coming here, so I need to have light coming like that. So this means this is probably going to have shadows of something here, or maybe I'll bring a tree down. Really haven't really saw that through yet, so I didn't notice that. That's the great thing about painting. Is
Find it. And we have that.
This painting is actually related to a visit that we did to Adams River last year. Adams River had the most amount of birch trees down that I've ever seen.
What's your favorite brand of brushes?
I don't have one. So what I have is I buy a good one, almost always, and then I throw them away in 6 months. So whatever is available at that point, then I buy them. I'm firm. That's the only thing I look for. So I don't really have, there's like 2 firms no good, or this one's 2 firm, but I like a firm brush. And except for when you're doing obviously like branches and stuff like that. But, I don't think I found one that goes like, oh, I gotta have it every time. Because of my style, it actually is not good for brushes. And thank goodness I sell a lot of paintings, so it doesn't matter as much. If I was doing this, if I wasn't making money from this, I would not. I'd be upset with myself because these things, I go through too many, even if you clean them all the time, which I do. I have I clean my brushes every time after I finish, and they're always put away, and they drift this way, and they're all done the right way, but I push so hard on, and when I'm doing those large canvases, that's a lot of painting with the brush. So, I used to think, well, I can save them, I used to put them in a drawer, and the drawer would get built up, and I have all these brushes, and I'm going, well, why do I have those? So now I just throw them away. I guess I could probably give to somebody, but I don't think they would have the value.
So are you using synthetic or are they bristle brushes?
I don't even have an answer for it. What is that? There seem to be good brushes. I think one of those are.
You rub the name up.
Yes, I have such paint going down here, so I have to clean them off. I would go like,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know, I actually don't know the answer to this. It doesn't seem to matter to me. What matters to me is I get one that has the right feel when I go, let's touch it and go, that's the right feel. Yeah, I think each brush is usually like the good ones, like the bigger ones, is usually like the $50–60 brush. And the rest are down from there. This was these ones here are about 160. Just one of those 4. Those will last for a long time.
What brand did you say they were, Danny? Those ones that are,
These are Princeton.
no, the super expensive ones?
They should, but not one on yet. Okay, I don't have my last.
Oh, it's Princeton.
Oh, okay.
That's why they did it, yeah.
These are like a watercolor.
They are. Yeah, they are watercolor brush. But how I use them is I use them like I go in later on with them, and they're my branch brush. They just and I put more water on. And then just my brush that I use for making branches. So they work really good for that.
How are you selling now?
Pardon me?
How are you selling now?
I mean, how?
I mean, your method.
Oh, I just use my website, and I use Instagram and Facebook. I advertise. I spend about $300 a month in advertising. And it seems to work. I advertise across Canada. Majority of my sales are Western Canada, but I would sell probably monthly, probably about maybe 4 paintings to Ontario. And then the rest are all going this area. I do not have galleries. That's just not who I am. I sell to just I have my own gallery basically, so I don't use galleries. Not quite true. So when I do have one in Nelson that I really appreciate them and what they've done for me for the last 6 years. They've been very nice. I appreciate them. And they are the only gallery I sell to. And they sell a lot, but I would bring 3 times a year. I bring about maybe 10 to 20 paintings, and they sell out. So they do well. But it's more of a it's like let's put it. If I don't sell a painting in 6 months, if it's still in my gallery in 6 months, it goes to Nelson. So I don't have any. If it's not sold in 6 months, I don't want it there. It's almost like that retail sense, right? Then I don't get as much money because then it's almost like a markdown. Right. So
Then how do you ship?
I ship through FedEx and I spend way too much money. Yes.
Yeah.
But 100% of the sales of my paintings is mine. Even if it costs me more money for shipping, I'm not paying commission. So I'm not worried about the actual cost of shipping. However, sending to Ontario does kind of affect you a little bit, especially the 40 by 60s. And I mean, March, I sent 4 to Toronto, and they were all large. I hated that bill. Didn't like it at all.
Do you do your own?
Packaging?
wrapping?
I do, I wrap it all myself. So my wrapping is, what I use is I got, the styrofoam from, Home Depot, which is the gray stuff. Like the really dense, and it has the wrap around it. And I use, I get 4x8 sheets shipped to me. About 10 at a time, and I put the, top and bottom, and then I use it on the sides, and then I use tape around them. But the first, before I put the painting, I put paintings wrapped in plastic. Then I put the styrofoam, then the styrofoam is wrapped in plastic. And then I don't put anything hard, because those foams are very, very dense. It keeps the weight down, so when you're shipping, it's a lot lighter. I have sent literally 300 paintings and never had one damaged.
Yeah.
Do you frame your paintings?
I do in the gallery, but I offer it, and I don't say it has to be done, because all my edges are painted black.
Yeah.
And the black works really, really well. The best technique that I found for me is I use black gesso. And I just found it just the simplest way to do it. And so then I paint the black gesso, and then I put the isolation coat over top of that, and then I put three layers of varnish afterwards. So reason I go a little bit overboard with the varnish is a lot of the canvases that I have are sold to people with large homes with large windows. So you don't want your paintings to be fading, and mine don't, the way I do it. And it sounds like a really good, but mine don't, because I have sitting on my fence, and it's been there for 7 years now, screwed into the fence, summer, winter, fall, spring, rains, everything on top of it. They look exactly the same. They don't look, other than bird trap, but you know. And I could just mess it off later.
So is that a spray varnish or do you brush it off?
I actually use those little dollar store sponges, the one with the green on the back. And I use a squirt bottle and squirt the varnish on it, and then I just put it on that way. So very thin coats.
And how many coats do you do?
3, 4 in total, because the isolation is 1. So 4.
And what's the isolation mean?
Okay.
What is the isolation mean?
Oh, the isolation is used like if you paint a picture and you put an isolation coat, golden cells it, it's fantastic. What it does, it actually evens out the whole acrylic, so it's not different flatness, brightness, and then it also means that you can go back later and fix it. So the isolation protects it from the varnish. And so then somebody goes in, there's a fire, and they want to restore your painting. You can go in and you take the isolation coat on, and you can go back to the original painting. Yeah. But we didn't have isolation coat for our acrylics, and then Golden came out with it. It's fantastic. I'm really excited about it. We've had it for years for oils, and so it does a really, really good job. And the biggest, to me, the biggest benefit, like I don't even care really that much about going back later. To me, the benefit is how it evens out the actual hues. It's worth all of it, all the money you pay on it. And so, yeah, so after I finish the painting, it'll be 24 hours. I put the isolation coat, and then I wait another 24 hours, and then another 24 hours, and then another 24 hours. So I always have paintings in the queue doing my varnish on it. How does what's the other, like, yeah, my question would be, how do most of us protect our paintings? Does anybody have another way of doing it? Probably better ways. Because the one that I started off with, those spray ones, boy, that stinks.
Yeah.
You know,
I
Here's a- here's-
don't varnish. That's
don't?
oils.
Yes, oil was different, right? Yes,
Here's a job for your granddaughter down the road.
down the road for sure,
She can do the varnishing.
yes. I actually think she's already starting to do the yard work, because we have a beautiful garden, so the garden's already starting to show up, so she's already got the watering can out, and
Okay.
it's going down for some reason, I gotta speed that up. I still haven't figured this out. Doesn't stop me from painting up there. Though. I think I'm gonna go down with the trees. I think I can start. Now
We have to go back.
Yeah. It's interesting what you're already happening.
I'm going
Sometimes there's
back.
concentration on the campus. It's actually not looking that bad.
It's great.
Okay, I need to know more solid shades, like more obvious shades in here where it goes deeper. This needs to be a little bit more contrast in this area. So when I said I paint from memory and thing, the memory that I get is just usually a glimpse. It's not gonna be like, I don't follow it, like I go, okay, I got an idea, there's a tree that has a crooked branch on it. Doesn't mean I'm gonna go see the whole scene, I'm gonna paint a picture with a crooked branch. Yeah, I'm not gonna go back there and go, okay, this tree was here, that tree was there, that tree was there. Obviously, I don't do that, I just go and I just glue it, just let it go. And then you try to go, like I try to go, is try to make movement in one direction or the other. So I try to make some kind of movement with my brush stroke, and then later on it kind of makes more fluid things. And if it didn't, at the end of the painting, I quite often will take like a white or something, and I'll just go like that, and just get that movement just from putting that brush stroke there.
You're letting the painting speak to you.
Yes,
It's telling you what it means.
and sometimes it tells you you're really messing up, but most often it's working. Now I'm gonna, so this palette, you can see it's pretty getting uncomfortable to me, so then I pull out another one. Because I feel I'm almost getting muddy. And I'm going to start bringing in some other colors into this area here, and then this area here. And I believe this area needs some crimson, so I'm just. Yeah, at home I have a large board that I just put my popsicle sticks on. I don't have to use my palette for that. And I ordered these from Amazon, 800 at a time. Big expense is actually getting all the wires too and all that, so
Yeah.
it's becoming very expensive. Even the hooks are being bring, like I don't like single hooks, I like the double screwed hooks down. And Opus used to sell a package, which is ridiculous, when you just buy a package and gives you this little piece of wire and then it gives you the screws for it. So then I did find Walmart actually sold them, so I just the hooks. And I thought, okay, I just go buy some screws. And can't get screws very easily, you know, so then I had to research and try to find the screws. And I found them from a place I didn't think I was gonna find it from. I found it from the company that's called Wish. This is like a Chinese importer. And they were like, ridiculously cheap, like 700 for like $5. So I found them, and I would have paid $20 for them, but I found them, so.
Do you photograph your work yourself?
Yes, I use a very high-tech iPhone. That's all I use is my iPhone. So I was the London Drugs camera manager for 20 years. You think I know how to use a camera, which I do. I have all the fancy camera equipment. But if I was to use because of the way the world is now. If I was using my high-end camera and somebody started copying it off my website and copying it off my Instagram, they'd be able to print them. But- So I don't need to give them a high-end quality picture. So I don't make prints. I will never make prints. That won't be my future. I will always be a original artist. So then I don't need a high-end quality with photographs.
Do you photograph them before you varnish them or?
Usually before, yes, I do. I paint a picture and usually take some pictures as I'm painting them, and then I'll take one and I'll take it and I'll frame it up with black border. I'll put the name of the painting on it, and then I'll post it on Instagram and Facebook. And the next day, I usually post it on my website saying available on such and such date, which is 7 days from the day I painted it. So yes, I do need to take photographs because that's how I sell a lot of my paintings. It's interesting too, because I was in a really good gallery. On Friday. And I was talking to the gallery person and I was saying, beautiful painting this. How many paintings do you have in the back? It's 600. And I think to myself, exactly what you just did. Oh. I found that just, well, I just felt bad because your art is not even being displayed. It's being in the back, stored, and you're not, and so when I made the decision to stop the gallery thing and not even go that route, I think I made the right decision. But it's not for everybody because, but I think I made it worked out good for me. That's a lot of paintings to think about to have something back there. They do sell the ones from the back because a customer will come in and they will be looking for that particular artist and they'll go back and grab the ones of that artist. And that's good. I mean, but I was shocked actually.
Well, they're probably on their website too, though.
Exactly, and that's where websites are basically 70% of the sales. Like for myself, it's the website and the gallery is very little part. And I really haven't spent the money advertising in the Okanagan. It's more, I'm advertising outside of the Okanagan. So I'm because the Okanagan is large, but Canada is way larger. So I'm advertising in I skipped Saskatchewan. It's only got 100,000 people living there, so it's a little less. So, but I go Manitoba and then I go Ontario, Quebec. I had a customer for a commission piece today from Quebec. Quebec still has I'm surprised how many people go to Quebec.
So is it hard to do a commission piece? I mean, it is such a,
I'm a bit different that way too, because you can notice I'm a different kind of person. So no, commission piece works really good for me. I do not do this. My wife says I shouldn't be doing it the way I'm doing it, so do not listen to me. Don't do this. Somebody wants a commission piece, I will paint it for them. Then I will show them. If they like it, they buy it. If they don't, they don't. Don't
they
do
have
it.
to give you a subject, right?
That's all. Give me a subject. Because I'm painting of a man, I'm not painting from photographs. So I don't want you to have it if you don't like it. And my statement is this: if you don't like it, I'll paint another one, only maybe twice. But if you don't like it, that's okay. I will sell it anyways, and that's what happens. It sells anyways. So, but I say don't do it because it can be very frustrating because you can get some people go than the others. And I go, I want that tree blue. Or that. Somebody wanted a flower as a blue flower because they wanted blue flowers in their house. And I go, what flowers, blue, other than maybe a pansy. No, I don't like pansies. So I had a hard time visualizing that blue flower. She never got her blue flower. Like, she never did it. Quiet there because I was thinking. How am I doing for time?
Got lots of time.
Good. Thank you. My favorite painting. Always trees. I just love trees. Trees. I can paint trees every day. I would love just to paint trees, but I do paint a lot of flowers. I don't really love flowers, but you do paint what makes you moolah, and so
People like that.
I like that, so I will paint them. It's not my favorite, but then again, it goes a lot with impressions. Flowers are so fluid and so fast and so enjoyable with the color explosions from them. So they go good, and every once in a while I will do the painting of lily pads, because I mean, the light reflection in the lily pad is the best painting in the world to paint. So I'll do that once in a while. The trees are definitely always my thing to go to. Now I'm gonna try to make that branch come up here. Start to pull the picture together. So in my studio, I have around behind my big easel, I have a place to clean my water and my brushes, and I probably clean it probably every hour. About every day. There you go. I think maybe a branch coming up this way.
So even when you started, you didn't use a photo?
It's like those ranches are such interesting shapes that I don't think they would have ever come out of me.
They actually would if you did this.
Yeah, but that one
Yeah,
that goes
right.
that way.
Just with that looking, yeah.
See, the key is that, you try to realize that it just doesn't matter, because it's, and so if you really concentrate, then it doesn't work good, but if you go like this, and you go like that, you know, then it sort of happens, and as soon as you start to
Yeah.
Think about it.
think about it, it's almost like we gotta go back to my 2-year-old granddaughter, and, you know, and realize that, you know, it doesn't matter if I make a mistake, right?
I
And
know,
so,
but I might have done the curvy,
Yes.
but this one up at the top,
oh, that one,
where one is an angle and the other is round.
but I didn't really start off thinking that. The brush did it. I, you know, it wasn't,
Okay, no.
yeah. I mean, I didn't just be honest, it wasn't me, but it is, I know what you mean, because like I said, when I started doing this, oh my goodness, was I terrible. Oh, I was fighting myself so much because I would do that. I would go.
You think too hard.
I'm gonna go here and maybe go this way and then go that, and you're just, your mind is just, but you don't have to. And it's acrylic. So we cover it up. We put another layer on top of it. We add extra, whatever, you know, to, if you didn't like that there, well, just throw a couple of leaves there, that covers it up, you know? So you definitely can cover it up. And now I'm just gonna try to make some of this stuff make a little bit more sense. And all I'm doing is taking advantage of areas, no, I'm on the wrong side of the camera, guys, sorry. Oh, it doesn't look too bad there either.
Yeah, that was good.
Looks like I need to put, well, that's kind of cool. Yeah, a bit more. Yeah. How do you do that there? Line there, that would be nice. Yeah, I can do that first. That's actually kind of. This thing's almost needs something going this way. That pulls that in. Makes that. Well, like that goes. It's kind of fun. You gotta have fun with your paint, though, right? Still be 4 people watching?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't scare anybody away.
No, we've got 7 online right now.
How many members are now at the Federation here? It's still one of the larger
We've got
ones?
Yeah, we're still one of the larger ones at 100, what did I say, 136? 136, 136, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, we were up to 165 at one point. We were the biggest chapter in Canada.
But COVID kind of changed a lot of the world, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Like I say, this is my first time to come out and see people.
It was so good.
It's different, actually. I like it. I actually, when you asked me, I was like, I don't know if I really want to. You know, it was kind of almost like intimidating. You guys scared the heck out of me. So like, so I had to, you know, talked off the ledge, and I came anyway. So. Both contracts first. So basically, I want to try to make all these areas make a little more sense, and I just try filling in areas with shadows. And try to follow some of my lines and just put shadows underneath. This painting, if I'm in the gallery and studio, should take me about 4 hours. Here, obviously, I'm doing it a lot faster. 4 hours and 2 cups of coffee.
So how long does one of your great big paintings take?
6 hours. Maybe, depending on the one, like I 48, 36, 48, 48, 72s, they usually take me about 12 hours to do. But it also depends on how much open space there is on them. So larger paintings have more over space, so they don't yeah, sometimes take less time. Time is not as important to me now. It used to be like, okay, it's not, because some of the best paintings take an hour. Like the ones that you go, oh my God, that's perfect,
There it is.
right? And then another ones that you actually would spend hours and hours on it. Yeah. They still may be good, but they have kind of felt, I almost feel like you got ripped off because you spent so many hours on it. But I mean, it's interesting too. I mean, I used to be almost embarrassed when somebody would go, well, how long did it take to paint? Only 4 hours. And you're charging that much for it? Well, it took me 50 years to get there. So I guess I have some edge, but I still felt bad sometimes, but I think that's gone away.
So do you find if you start a painting on Monday and it's one of those big ones, can you wait till Friday or do you?
No, when she's napping, I think. You do laundry. I don't do laundry, sorry. I could still paint during like nap time or something like that, and I can go back to painting anytime and just add to it. So if it's a commission piece and I have to have it done by a certain date, I'm gonna still work on it during those times, or I'll have to do it during after dinner or something like that. The winter is a lot easier because there's not as much to do, so I can easily do it. But now it's like get out in the garden and, man, who did not enjoy this weekend? How long have we been waiting for that?
So you just grabbed another color.
Yeah, I could have changed my mind.
What'd you get?
I just wanted more light because I think it's getting too dark.
What is that yellow?
Like yellow. Yeah, I'm only using 3 colors. I have orange. I have cadmium orange. And that's usually the color that I use too. And I use the fellow blue. No, it's the fellow blue. I use crimson too. No, I use purple. Dioxin purple. And that's usually the color that I've been using lately that sort of makes the whole picture go, oh wow. Yeah, so it's a color I've been using a lot more. I actually really believe that you can paint just about everything with a 3 good primary colors. You don't really need it, but it is a lot faster when you don't have to mix it. But the way I mix it doesn't really matter, I guess. And try to get this area lightened up too.
In January, I was following a gal that was doing that Strata easel challenge and she used a red, yellow and a blue every day, but a different red, yellow and blue. So her paintings were coming out, very similar but different. Yes,
Yeah.
it was so interesting what colors she would, mix together. So
It's actually, I mean, that's what we do. It's all about color. Like, I think that's what artists is all about. This kind of painting is not all artists. But I think dealing with color and light is important.
You don't have to worry about sick of your thing.
You. So what's in your head
What am I gonna make for supper
What are you
tomorrow night?
thinking as you finish,
Oh,
like as you're in this moment?
so what I'm doing now is imagining the sun coming through. So I'm trying to think, okay, where can I lighten and where's, so it's all about contrast and shades.
Where would that light
Where
is?
I like it. So I'm just constantly throwing more light. If you notice, it's getting lighter and lighter. And but some areas are not, it's so important because painting looks crappy without the light in the right spot. So I'm trying to think that out. I mean, these trees here have to have light this has to be the lightest spot right in here, but it's not right now. And so every once in a while, I'm going back to that area, adding more white and just lightening it up because it will darken again,
Yeah,
right? So then the lighting spots, you have as many as 15 coats of lighter colors on top of it. And not the whole thing, because you just want to leave parts of it showing because the other color underneath, you want some of that to show. So I'm trying to just leave some of that background, leave some of that background. You mean you could probably go this way, you just go a orange and just go white over top of it, and the orange will still show through, but not near the same as having a tinge of orange.
yeah.
I mean, it's, so that's what my mind is going. My mind is going, okay, this is light here, so then the light will be hitting here, it'll be going this way, the light will be hitting here, it'll be going that way. But not just there, it's also gonna be down here, and here, and a bit there, bit there. You know, so that's how you move yourself around a bit.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's right, but that's what my mind is doing, which is a strange mind in the first place.
I'm struggling I like it till it dries and then it's dark.
Oh, but it looks so good when you put the varnish on
It'll bring it back up
it.
to light.
100%. Yes,
Then I guess I gotta get some out, because it's starting to drive me crazy.
well, yeah, well, join the club, but that's okay. I mean, when you put varnish on, it changes everything. It's acrylic. Oil is the most incredible medium in the world. There's nothing better than oil when you're painting. But if I want to make an income and I want to paint quickly and I want to have volume versus
Yeah.
acrylic is the most sensible medium for me. And so if you can paint, I can paint this in 4 hours and say I sold it for $800. That's a really good 4-hour work, right? And so in a gallery, they would want $1,600, but I only want $800. It's not going to sell right away, you know, so you have inventory, so it's going to sit. So, but we take an oil painting and then I paint it and I put it in the tray and I go back to it, and I put it in the tray and I go back to it, and I put it in the tray and I go back to it. So I got to paint like 6 at once or 7 at once, maybe 12 to actually make a constant in my mind. And so after 40 years of retail, that's how my mind works. And so that's why I think this way. It's not because I love it. I learned to love it. I learned to use it, but it's a good tool. But oil, yes, the way it looks, and yeah, even the smell, I miss it. Yeah. But I haven't touched oil for 15 years now. I mean, I don't even have any. I'm lazy.
might be a rude question, but
There's none,
this is a birch tree, so you have those whites.
right?
On a painting that's not a birch tree, do you still find you envision things that have a fair bit of white
Yes,
in it?
so it's not rude at all, because basically all trees have, like, I don't paint a tree just normally. Because they're not normal, but still, the tree will have, lighter browns, or lighter red undertones, or moss. That's your highlight, so moss in it, and then all of a sudden you get your highlight.
Yep.
Right, so, so you can, even on here, you can actually throw moss in this picture, and you can start bringing in that color that changes. So we could have some moss down here. It's that highlight. That lighter color that changes, like, very suddenly, there's that's that white. But on the birch tree, yeah, it's a cheating tree, because you can get that highlight really bad.
It was just- That's fine.
Okay, now I need to put some more contrast in. And go with this. It's funny because here I am talking to myself and talking to you guys at the same time, but I realize I do it at once. Oh, okay, I need to do this. I need to add some more color over here.
As long as you don't answer yourself.
The dog talks back.
Yeah, these days I'm doing
Just love.
I think too much. Yeah. Get out of my head.
I'd like to say, I'd like to have a solution for that overthinking thing, because I know what it was, but you know what it is? It's like everything in art, it's the repetitive practice of going this direction.
Yeah.
So you won't, no matter, like I said, it took me like 5 years to not, so that's a lot of paintings.
Yeah.
And so it's not like I didn't just be in the same spot as you. So it's possible, but is it, are you willing to put 5 years or 2 years or 1 year?
And keep it fun at the same time,
Yes.
right?
Right.
You know, you have to sort of
And
go.
we all have different styles. We have our different things that we love to do anyways already. And I love these kind of things where you can watch other people do what they do. Because what you do could be 10 times better than what I do, because that's just what you do. And I don't do it, but I do this, you know, so that's what I love about art. When I see other artists do it. I'm always really blessed that people even want to watch me paint, because it's really exciting, because I know a lot of you guys are really accomplished and amazing artists, but you paint differently. And I think that we all, when we get together and see each other do the different things that we do, it's all like my side standing here and watch one of you guys paint, they'd be going. I can see how their mind is working, how they're developing them. Or even when you do a class and you have, like I've done classes where I've had 70 people painting. And then I'm painting with them, and I'm coming around and talking to every individual as they're painting. That's amazing, because you get there and you go, And everybody's different, every single person's different, and you're talking to them and you're going, you can see where their mind is at, and you're going. And you're not trying to make, I don't want them to become me, I want them to become them, so you try to grab their their thing and make it better by just sort of helping them, gentle. Just like nudge, yeah, because we all have this. We all are artists, which is exciting to me. Art is one of the most.
Well, it's like when you told us that you started in one way and then you took your classes
Mhm.
and it changed you.
Yeah.
And you gotta get back to where you were. But you do take the classes
Yeah, you do need to
to
try.
do something to help you.
I would not be able to do this if I never did that.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, if I couldn't draw. I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
And even though it doesn't look like I can draw, I mean, really, but, you can't do this without all those experiences. And as we get to the gray hair, we get better at it all, we start to draw on the experiences from the past. Sorry, I'm blocking the camera.
Oh, no, we've got two cameras, so. don't-
Now you can already see how it's darkening up in the areas. And you go back and find out what those are. Yeah. It's almost too late. It's almost-
Well, I love sugar, so.
Everybody likes everything that's sugary.
Like a long donut.
Benefit I had in my gallery too, I've got 60 feet I can get back in my painting.
Yeah.
It really helps.
So you're not weird, you're just different.
Well, not necessarily, I guess. We're artists, we're weird.
Yeah, some days they're more weird.
Okay, what'd you just do? Oh, okay.
I saw it.
Oh, that's new. That was a new move.
Yeah, it was a dance move. I was just trying to dance.
Yeah. A drop on that marble floor.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
What am I looking?
I was looking for it.
I love it. You paint the space and then you follow it.
Yeah, and you know where you put a
Yeah.
little light away.
Yeah. That's great.
This area here needs something to pull it from there. Might have to be just tree hanging this way. Because it needs. This is almost like, in my mind, like, I want it to be the dog to there, and this would be an X. So if I had something going like that, it would bring the X. That makes some sense. So I'm getting close to just throwing color at it because I can. But it's almost like it needs to dry a little bit.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do now is just put a bit of blue around the areas. And I will go back to it probably tomorrow. So the blue is sort of my shadow color. Hard to put twisted sticks if you just try to paint one at a time. Like if you paint them on top of each other, then you're able to get that sort of look of branches on the bottom hidden between other branches. And if you try to make them all the same way, it doesn't make sense. Within the forest, there's layers of them. This area here should be. I don't know. I gotta stop. I'm making close.
How long do you live with a painting before you say it's done?
I'm gonna paint usually about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
I'm using it.
There you go.
Actually, it's not that bad of a painting.
No,
It's
it's not.
done. Gorgeous.
There is something wrong, and that is right here, bottom of that tree, I could have actually made it hollow, you know, but I think this kind of makes you follow the whole thing outside.
I was trying to figure out right from the beginning how a fallen over birch tree was gonna be interesting, and it's wonderful.
But the actual most exciting part of the forest is the forest.
Yeah.
That's where,
Well,
that's where all the life comes.
all those strokes you made actually look like it's leaves. Our brain says it's absolutely there.
There is leaves there, yeah, it just,
Yeah.
all those funny looking, you taking
Yeah.
those colors and not caring. Because if I was to care, there would be
No,
not there. There is something I don't like about this, but I'm not quite sure what it is, and it might be. Might be the far left-hand side, maybe needs some more solid branch, or. There's something wrong. I know what it is. Is this area here almost doesn't make sense. So what I could do is I could make a tree make sense. And if it doesn't turn out, I knew what it looked like before. Okay. So let's just take advantage of this reason here and just sort of make the reason why that was there. Gave brought you more up to the back, and I made the reason for that, those stunts to be there. I almost made me want to do more.
see, my self-talk would have never taken me with a dark off to the end.
Yeah,
Edge of the paper. But somebody's rule said that,
right.
probably not mine.
Well, there is right and wrong for sure, and I definitely don't follow the right. I mean, there's definitely, you know, if you actually were to take. If I was to judge my own painting, I would judge it really harshly. Actually, I do quite often. But one of the things I am blessed with is perspective. You know, that was one of those things, but that's the pen and ink drawings. That was from
Yeah.
thousands of pen and ink drawings. Most cool story I ever had was when I was 16, and I was in a craft show in Chilliwack, because that's where I went to school. And I was in a craft show, and I brought my pen and ink, and they're all hanging out in nice frames, and they were all across the whole area, and they looked really beautiful, and I was proud of myself. And they stopped there. So it's like kind of disappointing. There was no sale. The first day that it didn't sell a single thing. I go, oh, wow, these are really good. And so I just said, okay, nobody's talking to me. I don't talk, so I was just sit there and draw. So I had a sketch pad, and I just started drawing pictures. And then my younger brother was sitting there talking to me because we were both just there in the chair, and he goes, yeah, this is kind of cool. Like, and then he started talking to me, and somebody comes around and starts talking and saying, what are you drawing? I'm drawing this. And they go, well, how much you want for it? And it took me like 10, 15 minutes to do a quick sketch. And my brother goes, $25. There you go. I look at him and go, yeah, I do this on my exercise book at school. And he bought it. And another person came out and said, well, what did you just get? Well, that guy over there just drew a picture. And I had lineups for the rest of the whole thing. And my hand got sore because I was drawing. Drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing. So drawing helped me to be able to do this stuff. Without drawing, I don't think I need a wrench. I don't think I could do this. I couldn't do that. And also being able to, you know how it is when you see a tree and you can draw it without looking at it. Or see anything, that's the practice that we learned when first learning how to draw, is drawing without looking at the paper. And that's what you're basically doing. Okay, any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you for not minding if we ask questions.
Actually, I prefer them. I have learned so much more from the questions when I ever done these seminars over the years. Like I haven't done any for 2 years, but I've learned more because I remember somebody asking me questions almost every time. And it makes me think and go, oh, what do I do there? Well, how can I do that? I don't know. And now I have more answers because people have asked the same questions before. But I would have had those answers without somebody asking them, because there are so many things to learn from other people. And I think it's important. The more questions asked. I used to do seminars for lots of products. I was trained Toastmaster, I went through all that kind of stuff. We can't tell anymore, but well, I used to do a lot of seminars for a lot of people. And the questions were the best part. That made the connection to the audience and to the group the most important part of a good seminar. I think myself. Yeah, I think that's the best one. I actually, my very first seminar, I was 20 years old. And it wasn't a seminar. I was a Woolworths manager back in the 80s. And I got transferred to actually Chilliwack. And I got transferred there because I was transferred all over the place. It was 10 stores and it was back to Chilliwack. And I got there and the manager goes, I'm going on holidays. He says, well, when? He says, tomorrow. And I go, well, I was the associate manager of a large store. And I go, okay, sure. Where is the office? Kind of questions, right? And so he went away tomorrow. And the lady up in the office says, by the way, we have a staff meeting tomorrow. And I'm going, what? He goes, yeah, there's a staff meeting. And I'm going, how can you have a staff meeting? Like, what? I'm supposed to lead it. Yes, we're leading the staff meeting. What do I do? Well, I don't even know what the sales are. I don't even know what's going on. I don't know the story. So that was my first throw into a large thing. And I went into this, imagine well, I don't know if anybody remembers Woolworths, but they had some big cafeterias. And this one had a large cafeteria and had over 150 employees. And I walked into that. And I was walking in, carrying a couple of little things with paper written down on with numbers. I thought I could just bluff my way through. I'm walking in and everybody just staring at me. And you're going, I don't know any of them. And there's this young kid, like in his 20s, going, you gotta talk to like 150 people. And I was thrown in bang, and it was easy because I had just been to head office, I had gone through big tours, and I had meeting of the different CEOs and all that kind of stuff. So I just said, does anybody know anything about head office? And everybody was like, not really. So I just described it all and then deflected all the stuff that I probably was supposed to talk about. But they asked questions and they asked so many questions and it made the seminar work. And from then on, I think that's the best part about this kind of thing is when you ask it and then whoever comes here, yeah, you need to ask the questions.
And that's been the hardest part about Zoom
Yes.
through COVID, is you have to keep quiet,
Mhm.
which is good for me.
It's challenging.
It's challenging.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
always feel like the person up there is talking to me.
Well, they are.
They are.
Yeah, but that's what I